All right, Falcons fans, things are heating up behind the scenes, and we've got a lot to talk about. So, without wasting any time, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Rise up. There's been a lot of buzz recently about a potential trade that could shake things up in Atlanta. And yes, we're talking about Kyle Pitts. Let's get straight to it. Former Florida Gators star and current Falcons tight end, Kyle Pitts, is at the center of trade rumors as we head into the NFL offseason. When Atlanta drafted him with the 4th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, expectations were sky high. He was supposed to be the next big thing, a generational talent who could change the tight end position forever. But now, as we look at the situation today, the big question is, has he lived up to the hype? Pitts hasn't been bad, not by any means. In his first 4 seasons, he played in 61 games, with 196 catches, 2,651 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Those are solid stats, but are they enough to put him in the top tier of tight ends? Not quite. Falcons fans have definitely seen flashes of greatness, but the consistent dominance just hasn't been there. And that's where things get interesting. According to Andrew Bullis from Sports Not, there's a real chance that Pitts could be traded this offseason. He even suggested the Falcons could send Pitts to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, let's be clear, this is just a prediction for now. But when you look at the situation, it starts to make sense. Pitts hasn't really found his place in Atlanta's offense, and with the team possibly looking to make some changes, a trade could be on the horizon. It's not out of the question that Kyle Pitts could be on the move. So, why the Colts? Well, they have a young quarterback in Anthony Richardson who could really use a reliable target. Pitts could be the perfect fit as a safety net for Richardson, offering him a dynamic weapon in the middle of the field. Plus, Pitts is entering the final stretch of his contract, with the 2025 season being the last year of his current deal. If the Falcons don't see him as part of their long-term plans, this could be the right time to trade him while his value is still high. But let's flip the script for a second. What if the Falcons decide to keep him? He's only 24 years old, so there's still plenty of time for him to become the elite player everyone thought he could be. And don't forget, Pitts has been productive in his time in the NFL. Maybe what he needs is the right system, coaching, and quarterback to unlock his full potential. The Falcons might decide that moving on from Pitts would be a mistake, especially when you look at his college career. At Florida, he was an absolute beast, catching 100 passes for 1,492 yards and 18 touchdowns. In his final season alone, he racked up 770 yards and 12 touchdowns on just 43 receptions. That's elite-level production. So here's the big question. Should the Falcons trade Kyle Pitts, or should they keep him and try to make it work? There are strong arguments on both sides. Maybe a change of scenery would help him, or maybe Atlanta just needs to find a way to use him better. One thing's for sure, this is a situation to keep an eye on as the offseason unfolds. I want to hear from you, Falcons fans. Should the team trade Kyle Pitts and get what they can for him now, or do you still believe he can become the game-changing tight end we all thought he would be? Leave your thoughts in the comments. The Falcons are in a tough spot financially. Missing the playoffs for the 7th straight season is bad enough, but now they're sitting $11.9 million over the salary cap. One of the worst situations in the league. That means some tough decisions are ahead, and unfortunately, one of those might involve parting ways with veteran defensive tackle David Onyemata. Let's be clear, this isn't about Onyemata's performance. He was solid for Atlanta last season, playing in every game and posting 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, and 5 QB hits. He was still a key part of the defensive line, ranking as the 38th best interior defensive lineman out of 118 qualified players. But, with the Falcons needing to free up cap space, his contract has become a major talking point. Onyemata signed a 3-year, $35 million deal last offseason to reunite with his former Saints position coach, Ryan Nielsen. However, with Nielsen gone after just 1 season, Onyemata could become a cap casualty. Cutting him would leave the Falcons with $8.8 million in dead cap, but it would also free up $8 million in salary space. If the Falcons designate him as a post-June 1st cut, that number jumps to $10.5 million. Of course, the Falcons could save even more by moving on from another veteran defensive tackle, Grady Jarrett. Cutting Jarrett would save a massive $16 million in 2025, but that's a whole different conversation. Grady Jarrett has been the heart and soul of this defense for nearly a decade, and moving on from him would be a huge shock. But with the Falcons in serious cap trouble, nothing is off the table. At the end of the day, GM Terry Fontenot has some tough decisions to make. The Falcons need to find a way to build a competitive roster while also addressing their salary cap situation. So, does that mean parting ways with Onyemata, or could another move be on the horizon? I want to hear from you, Falcons fans. Should the team cut Onyemata to free up cap space, or should they find another way to make the numbers work? And what about Grady Jarrett? Could the unthinkable actually happen? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get this debate going. As we look ahead to 2025, the Falcons will have their 5th different starting quarterback in 5 seasons. That's a lot of turnover at the most important position in football. This time, it's first-round pick Michael Penix Jr. stepping in, but his first 3 starts last season were far from easy. The offense put up a solid 32 points per game in those games, but the defense struggled, leading to a 1-2 record for the rookie. Many believe Penix should have taken over sooner. Kirk Cousins had a tough stretch with injuries and inconsistent play during a crucial 4-game losing streak. However, the Falcons front office insists that Cousins' health wasn't a major factor, despite what fans and analysts may think. Regardless of what happened behind the scenes, the transition has now been made, and Bon Robinson is making sure Penix is ready for the challenge. Robinson understands. Bon Robinson knows how the NFL works, and he understands that quarterback changes are just part of the game. He recently told RG reporter DJ Siddiqui, "That's the NFL. You can't really be surprised when things happen. You just have to learn how to adapt, go with it, and support each other. Support one quarterback, then the other, throughout the whole season." Penix's numbers in his first 3 starts weren't anything to write home about. 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. But those games could be the start of something bigger in 2025. Robinson and his teammates rallied behind him, understanding that a young quarterback needs time to develop. "We had to make sure Mike was ready to go because he's obviously a young guy," Robinson said. "He had his first 3 starts, so I always made sure he was dialed into the game." For Robinson, the quarterback situation directly impacts his own performance. He's an elite talent, but without stability at quarterback, his first 2 seasons have been part of back-to-back losing campaigns. Still, he's not making excuses. Instead, he's focused on consistency and taking things one step at a time. "I'll just say it's about being consistent, week to week," Robinson said. "I don't look ahead. Obviously, we want to make the playoffs, have big goals, and make it to the Super Bowl, but we have to focus on 1 week at a time, 1 day at a time. Because in this league, when you start looking too far ahead, you get smacked in the mouth and you start losing." The Falcons are hoping that Michael Penix Jr. will be the guy to finally bring some stability at quarterback. It's been 5 years of quarterback changes, but Robinson and the rest of the team are determined to make sure this is the last time they have to break in a new starter. If Penix develops the way they hope, Atlanta could finally have a long-term solution at quarterback, something every Falcons fan has been waiting for. So now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Michael Penix Jr. is the long-term answer for the Falcons? Can Bon Robinson's leadership help him take that next step? Let me know in the comments and let's get this conversation going. And remember, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any updates. Go Falcons!